What's up, guys? It's Eric from Rare Candy, and today we're back with another recorded tournament series for you. This time it's going to be one of the first League Cups of the Guardians Rising format. This took place at Cape Fear Games in Wilmington, North Carolina. And here we have the top 8, and on the left we have Daryl Horn, who's going to be playing Lycanroc Raichu. And on the right we got our own boy Marcus Gil from Rare Candy, over on the right playing Greninja. So it should be an interesting matchup for sure. We did record all of the top cut rounds, so do stay tuned for the top 4 and finals to follow after this as well. So for this matchup, on paper, I have to say I think I definitely favor Marcus here. Just because, against setup decks, Greninja is actually very good, like decks that play low HP evolving basics and stuff like that. And the one thing that I think Lycanroc has going for it, though, is that it's very easy for it to hit 130 hit points. And a popular tactic for Greninja is, once you've used water duplicates, you typically retreat into a Froakie or a Talonflame if you're playing the Talonflame version, and you try to kind of stall behind those until your Greninja breaks get online. But Lycanroc can kind of take that strategy away, or limit it a little bit, just because Lycanroc's ability does switch Marcus's active with their bench. So Lycanroc might put on a lot of pressure that might make it hard for Marcus to deal with. So I definitely think that is the advantage that that Lycanroc can potentially have in this matchup. But other than that, just in general, I'd have to favor Marcus just because he also has Shadow Stitching. It's where he can actually shut off Lycanroc's ability. He plays Silent Lab, and I know this Lycanroc deck is a little bit reliant on Shamans. So between Shadow Stitching and Silent Lab, these guys, Marcus might have enough outs to let, slow Daryl down enough to let himself set up. So it looks like they're just waiting to get started, and I wasn't paying attention, but I do think Marcus won the coin flip since he has the die over top of his active. So I'm actually surprised he didn't mulligan, since this deck only plays 4 basics. And here Marcus is actually going to draw a prize. That must seem really weird, but prior to top 8 getting started, I believe Daryl didn't fill out something in his deck list exactly correctly. And, players had to get deck checked before top cut started, and that's when they found that. So he was hit with a prize penalty. But hopefully it won't come back to hurt him too much. So here Marcus is going to get to go first, and he's going to use Dive Ball, and I actually saw a Silent Lab in his hand as well, so he actually might have a really good start here. The one good thing for Daryl as far as the prize penalty goes is that it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Marcus to abuse Ace Trainer in the early portions of the game. Since Ace Trainer, you can only play it when you are down in prizes, and Greninja usually never starts out the game ahead. It's normally definitely the deck to go down prizes first, but here, Daryl has got, it looks like a bit of an ugly hand. I see a Rockruff that he drew, but does he have a supporter? That's the one thing I'm not sure of here. I think all he has is a Lysander. That is definitely not, man, that is not what he wants to see here. So he can attach energy, but here he's going to opt to put this double colorless on Pikachu, and here he's going to use Nuzzle. Here I would actually probably prefer to go for the quick attack, just because Marcus can probably just evolve out of the paralysis with a Frogadier. And that is going to be an ugly Sycamore. So Marcus got rid of, I think, a Greninja Break, Max Potion, a Greninja, and a Silent Lab. Did I say Super Rod already? Because I do see Super Rod there too. So definitely not the best Sycamore, but at least Daryl is having a slow start. So that's the one thing he has going for him. And I do see Frogadier at Marcus's hand, but does he have an energy to use water duplicates? That's going to be the big thing here. If here he's actually going to pass, and I like that, because if you don't just want to evolve into Frogadier and not even be able to use its attack, because then Marcus could potentially knock it out. And here, Daryl, he's just eyeing down that Shaman that's in his hand. But that Silent Lab is shutting him down right now. So unfortunately, I don't really know what he can do. So here he's just going to go for a Nuzzle yet again. But again, I wish he would go for the quick attack. I think that would have been preferred. And here he's actually going to end both players. I'm sure Daryl is excited for that. But I'm sure Marcus didn't want to do that. But at the same time, what can he do? This Pikachu, if he just keeps passing, Pikachu could actually just knock him out after a couple quick attacks. So here he'll most likely hit an energy and be able to keep setting up. And he still has Silent Lab in play as well. So Daryl is going to be slowed down unless he can draw himself a Stadium. But again, Silent Lab is going to be shutting Daryl down. I see a Shaman in his hand and no counter Stadium. Here, Marcus is going to use Water Duplicates that attack on Frogadier. Let you search your deck for up to 3 Frogadiers and put them right onto your bench. It's kind of what makes the whole Greninja deck work. So it lets him get around the traditional evolution rules. So definitely a solid turn for him. Definitely worth ending his opponent into a new hand, I think. So here, Daryl just draws another energy. So definitely not in the best of shape. But it's not the end of the world, because he can actually evolve into Lycanroc, and he has a double colorless energy in hand. So he can actually just, he can still take a knockout and start putting on some pressure. So I like this. He is going to retreat, and he is going to use, I forget the name of Lycanroc's first attack, but it's a fighting in DCE. It does 110. Might be Claw Swipe, something like that, but with the strong energy, it's also going to do, it's going to boost up to 130, and strong energy will increase his damage output by 20. So one thing I think Marcus needs to be careful of here is not getting too greedy and attacking with Greninja. I definitely think he needs to sit back and just bubble for a turn or so until he can get his Greninja breaks in play. Because otherwise, Daryl can just knock out anything that Marcus throws up here. And Daryl's not at risk of getting out another Lycanroc to get around Froakie. So here, Marcus is going to promote the Froakie, and what is he going to do? He was actually going to Lysander, so to me it tells me he might not have the best hand. Only has one other card left, but here, Daryl top decks a Raichu, so that's going to give him free retreat to retreat back into his Lycanroc and start taking a knockout. Okay, so it looks like he's considering attaching to Raichu. He's also got an Ultra Ball in hand. He could start setting up another Rockruff, or he could consider just holding on to it until he finally hits a way to bump the Stadium. That way he can play something like a Tapu Lele or another Shaman. But here Daryl's just going to retreat and probably just take a knockout here on this Froakie, which is fine. Okay, Daryl's going to attach a double colorless, but then knock out the Froakie like I said. So what does Marcus have? Does he have a supporter to actually do stuff? That's the big thing here. I did not get a good look at what's in his hand, but here he's just going to promote Froakies. That's not a good sign at all. I think I see a Rescue Stretcher and maybe an Ultra Ball. A Rescue Stretcher is definitely one of the cards in his hand, though. Okay, so yet again, Daryl's drawing another not so great card. At this point, I'd maybe even, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're okay to just keep knocking down these Froakies. Marcus isn't putting on too much pressure, but here Daryl's going to get rid of a Rescue Stretcher and a Strong Energy. He does have Special Charge in hand, so he actually can get those special energies out of his discard back into his deck. Here it looks like he's about to grab himself another Rockruff, and I like that play a lot, just because if he can, successfully keep sniping Marcus's board and, bringing up Pokemon that Marcus is trying to save on the bench, he could be in a potentially a good spot. So he has a strong energy. Yeah, I would definitely just attach that to the Rockruff. That seems good. And looks like Daryl's debating on retreating, but again, I think you're in a fine spot. Just knock out the Froakie. Marcus doesn't have much going on right now. Here it looks like he's a bit conflicted. Okay, so he's just going to take a knockout. I think that's fine. He's going to go down to 3 prizes. As Marcus finally hit something, he is going to play Rescue Stretcher, shuffling the Greninja pieces back into his deck. And I actually really don't like this unless Marcus has... Okay, he got himself an N. The reason I'm just going to say I didn't like that play initially is because if Marcus has a dead hand, he doesn't want to shuffle in more Pokemon into his deck because that will reduce his chances of drawing into a supporter. But since he has the N, you may as well play the Rescue Stretcher. So, yeah, Marcus should hopefully be able to draw some stuff to get himself back in this game. Maybe a break and an energy would be great. Okay, I do see a splash energy in his hand and a regular water. Does he have a Greninja break? That's going to be the next piece of the puzzle he is going to need here. Okay, so he's going to put down the splash energy, and here he can Moonlight Slash, or he can do Shadow Stitching. So, which is he going to decide to do here? Okay, so let's see. Okay, he's going to do Shadow Stitching, or I'm sorry, Moonlight Slash for 60 damage. He could choose to return the water back into his hand to do an extra 20 more, but he wants to keep that splash energy just because whenever this Greninja gets knocked out by Lycanroc, he's going to be able to get the entire Greninja line back into his hand. Okay, so it looks like you see him attaching a strong energy to this Rockruff. It's a little bit dangerous just because, if Marcus does grab a Greninja break, he can knock out that Rockruff with a Giant Water Shuriken. Okay, I do see a Ultra Ball in hand, so I see a Field Blower as well. The Field Blower is not really relevant in this matchup. Not too much, not most of the time at least. So I'm sure he's going to get himself out a Greninja break here. He's going to get rid of an N, so that must tell me he has another supporter in hand if he's going to get rid of the N. And a Frogadier, that's fine with me. So he's going to get his first Greninja break and play. And even though Marcus hasn't taken a single prize yet, other than, of course, his prize penalty he was awarded against Daryl, this is where Greninja shines, is once your opponent's taken maybe 3 or 4 prizes, that's usually by the time you start to stabilize and really start to put on some pressure. So what is Marcus going to do here, though? That's a big question. So he's going to use Giant Water Shuriken, put 6 on the active Pokemon. That's going to put this Lycanroc up to 120. Here he's going to do Field Blower, getting rid of the Choice Band on Raichu, and he's going to play Sycamore, get a fresh hand of 7, so that seems good. If he can get himself a Choice Band and a Water Energy, he will actually be in a great spot because he'll be able to knock out this. Okay, so he does have Choice Band and he has the Water Energy, so he's going to be able to take a knockout here since Moonlight Slash will do 110 if he returns the Water Energy back into his hand. Okay, so what? Okay, so Daryl does have a Professor Sycamore, I believe, so he's going to play Special Charge, getting, I believe, looks like the 2 double colorless energies back into his deck. And again, I think I saw a Professor Sycamore, so he will be able to discard his hand and get himself a fresh hand of 7 here. And this is actually a situation where I would maybe prefer Daryl to shuffle the Strong Energy back into his deck, just because if he hit the Lycanroc and Strong Energy, he can actually take a knockout on this Greninja break. But here, it does not look like he... Well, he got a double colorless, so he can put the double colorless on it. He's going to bring up the other Greninja. I kind of like this play as well. Here he's going to attach a double colorless energy, and he is going to be able to take a knockout, and that is going to be kind of problematic. So he's basically going to put Marcus on a 2-turn clock after this turn. He's going to go down to 1 prize. But at the same time, Marcus is still in an okay spot because he can very easily 2-shot this Lycanroc. And what I might consider doing if I was Marcus is using Giant Water Shuriken to put 6 on that Rockruff to knock it out, and then using Moonlight Slash to do 110. So what's he going to opt to do here? Because he's going to have to take a 2-prize knockout and a 1-prize knockout. I think he just needs to Water Shuriken, get rid of the Rockruff now. That way he only has to knock out this Lycanroc for the game afterwards. So what's he going to do? He has a Water Energy in hand. Again, I would love to see that come down. Okay, so he's going to knock out the Rockruff. Definitely a good play. He could bench this Froakie, but he's at risk of a Lysander. He's going to Field Blower the Floatstone. Okay, I'm guessing he's checking what is in his discard pile here. He has a Fisherman, I believe. He could play that. I do see an N as well, so maybe he can just N. It's a little risky, but here he's just going to do Giant Water Shuriken for 110, and all he needs to do is do 1 more Giant Water Shuriken, and he actually wins the game. But at the same time, Daryl is in an okay spot too, because if he hits a strong energy, I believe he can actually take a knockout. Because right now his Claw Slash or Claw Swipe, whatever the name of the attack is, it's doing 150. And again, if he hits a strong energy, he just knocks out this Greninja Break and wins the game. But unfortunately, both of his other strong energies are in his discard pile. So again, I think this is a little bit of a misplay coming back to bite Daryl a little bit, just because he would have an out to knocking out this Greninja this turn. If he had shuffled one of those strong energies back with special charge earlier in the game. Okay, he does have a rescue stretcher he is eyeing down, so he's thinking about shuffling some stuff back in. Okay, so he's thinking about benching a Pikachu, and I actually think Pikachu is safe to bench at this point, because Marcus only needs to knock out, you know, this Lycanroc. So, okay, so what does he get here? I see a Choice Band. I see Field Blower. That's actually a very relevant card, since it will force Marcus to have 2 energy, but he does have Fisherman in his hand, so he can actually just Fisherman for the game. Because previously a Moonlight Slash with Choice Band would have knocked out this Lycanroc, but now it's going to force him to do 80 with his Moonlight Slash, which puts Lycanroc up to 190. So he's going to be 10 short of a knockout, forcing him to have the additional energy with Fisherman or some other means. So here he's just going to do Claw Slash or Claw Slight, whatever it is, for 150. And here Marcus is going to not win the game. And I felt so bad for Marcus here in this tournament. Unfortunately, he already announced his attack, and it doesn't do enough damage because of the Field Blower. And Marcus had game in hand, but man, Marcus. Oh man, you're killing me. Oh man. God, he was so close. Like, he literally had game in hand. I remember he was so upset after this. This is like one of those times where like you had game, but I'm trying to think of the right words to describe like how he felt at this time. But it was just such a bad situation because he was going to win this game. But it is best 2 out of 3. You know, he still has a chance to win this series because, you know, like I said, it's best 2 out of 3. I think Greninja is favored in this series anyways, so if he just sets up like normal these next 2 games, I think he'll be okay. The only thing he's going to have to worry about is going to time. Since Greninja is a slower deck, it does take a while to set up and get going. He could run it into a problem with the round running out of time, and you know, the game being decided by, you know, other means other than just knocking out all of his opponent's Pokemon. So that's one thing he's going to have to be, you know, cautious of and considerate of. But here he's going to mulligan. So, Marcus, you were the chosen one. You're supposed to win this, man. But yeah, me and Marcus, we actually both played the same Greninja list at this tournament, and I actually did a video on it as well. So if you want to see the exact list we used, I'll be sure to put a link to that. But he was the one out of us that did make it a top cut this day, so I was really counting on him to, you know, win this one for us. But like I said, he still has 2 games to come back and make something happen. But in this list, we actually did not play Talonflame in it, so it's not uncommon for Marcus to mulligan a couple times since it only plays the 4 Froakies. Sometimes you don't have the best odds of drawing into him. Here Marcus is going to mulligan yet again. I think the most I've mulliganed with this deck was 10 times. Luckily not at this tournament, but just in a fun game. That is definitely one of the downsides to it. Okay, and another mulligan. The one good thing though is that Marcus is going first since he lost the last game. So, you know, we run I think 4N in this list, so he does have decent odds of just ending away all these mulligans that he's giving Daryl. So that is the one upside to it. And what do you know? Another mulligan. But here it looks like he's about to get judge balled. So the judge is, I believe, going to reveal until he hits reveal cards until he hits a basic Pokemon. I think that's how they did this. I forget, but so Marcus only plays Froakie, so he is guaranteed to start with the Froakie. So that's the good part about it, and they'll be able to get started. So. Alrighty, so let's see what Marcus has. I think I actually saw him draw into another Froakie, so that'll definitely be good. Here he's going to draw for turn. Okay, he has a level boss, that's good. He can grab himself a Froakie to put on the bench, just to make sure that his Froakie does not get knocked out by some weird shenanigans on turn 1, though. Though I don't think Daryl actually has the means to do that anyways. You definitely want to get 2 Froakie in play just in case of something like that. Because I'm not sure if Daryl plays Kukui, but potentially he could like bench Lele, attach DCE and Kukui. But here he's just going to pass over to Daryl. Ooh, and he actually does have Kukui. I didn't even know that. So he's going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of Kukui, and looks like a Field Blower. So I actually might go for that play. Okay, it looks like he's opting to go for the Rockruff. That's probably better in the long run, but because I think he has, yeah, he has double Carlos Energy. He actually could do it, assuming his Tapu Leles are in the deck. But here he's going to get a Choice Band down. Looks like he's thinking about attaching a double Carlos to this Pikachu. That seems okay to me. He's going to Shaman, drawing a couple more cards. The only thing is his hand is kind of like clunky right now, so he can't really play many more Shamans. But here it looks like he was just going to go for the Bubble, but again, or the Nuzzle. But I think Quick Attack would be better in these early turns if Daryl was going to choose to attack. But here Marcus is going to get his 3 Frogadiers in play. Daryl's going to bench Raichu, and he has enough Pokemon in his hand. He will be able to bench and knock out this Frogadier this turn. But here he's going to Ultra Ball. He's going to look like get rid of a Rescue Stretcher and a Shaman. Okay, so let's see what he grabs. Maybe a second Rockruff. I kind of like that play because he will be able to take a knockout with Raichu this turn. Okay, so he's actually going to go for another Pikachu. Okay, he's going to attach Strong Energy and Shaman to draw some more cards. Okay, and he actually draws his second Rockruff, so that actually worked out pretty nicely for him. So he's going to bench Rockruff. He has a Float Stone. He's going to attach that, attach Choice Band. Not too much of a relevant card, but then he's just going to Sycamore. Okay, and here he's going to do Raichu Circle Circuit to take a knockout. Does 20 damage times the amount of bench Pokemon that Daryl has in play. So, okay, and here Marcus has a Greninja. And here's actually going to Lysander Shaman. I think it's a bit of a greedy play, but he will be able to get 2 prizes because he has the Choice Band. I would have maybe preferred Rockruff because that takes away Daryl's play of being able to set up a Lycanroc and taking a knockout with that. And it looks like he actually does have the cards to pull it off too. And this is what I was talking about. Here he can attach DC and evolve into this Lycanroc. If Marcus had just knocked out the Rockruff, it only gives up 1 prize, but he would have saved his Greninja this turn. I think that's the big thing here. So I think Marcus got a little too aggressive there. But, you know, it's actually tied up on prizes, which is, you know, not a bad thing. I'm not sure what was in Marcus's deck. He might have had something crucial prize that he felt like he needed to dig out. Or maybe he had like a dead hand and he was like, maybe I can get a supporter out of the prizes. I'm not sure, but assuming he didn't have a dead hand, I would have much preferred to see the Rockruff play. Okay, so he's going to play end. Both players are going to draw 4 cards. Okay, so let's see what Marcus gets here. He's going to really need a Greninja Break. Okay, looks like he's going to put down another Froakie, just promote Froakie, and I guess go for a Bubble, or just try to sacrifice it, but He is going to evolve into Lycanroc, bring up this Greninja, so that's definitely unfortunate for Marcus right there. And, you know, Daryl actually has a decent hand. He's got an N he can work with. It's only 4 cards, but will allow him to refresh his hand. But here he's going to opt not to play it. Maybe seeing that Marcus didn't really draw much that he needed, but here he does hit Greninja Break, and he has a dive ball for nothing, I guess. Maybe he has a Greninja Break prized, and here he's just going to end. So Marcus must have some stuff prized or in the discard or something already. Definitely not good, but luckily he does have the Greninja Break, and Daryl will not be able to take a knockout this turn. Or well, on his next turn at least. So that is the one thing he definitely has going for him here. But does he have energy? I think I see a water in hand, so he will be able to do Moonlight Slash this turn. Or Shadow Stitching, whichever he prefers. But here, yeah, I definitely like the Moonlight Slash play because he has a Max Potion in hand. So Daryl will swing for 150, or I'm sorry, 130 I believe it is. And then Marcus can just Max Potion, attach an energy, and keep on attacking. Okay, so it looks like Daryl got himself a DCE off that Shaman. He does have a bunch of options. He has a bunch of supporters in hand. He has a Lysander in his discard he could go for. He's got Kukui. If he hits a strong energy in Kukui's, he can actually take a knockout here. That would be very lucky. So maybe he'll go for that. But here he's going to Kukui, and he does not hit it, unfortunately. Definitely very unfortunate for him. So what I might do here, since he did whiff it, I would consider maybe retreating into his other Lycanroc that has no damage, because now this one is being threatened to be knocked out. But here Marcus is going to do that Max Potion play, like I said. Here he's going to Sycamore. Okay, and does he hit a water to knock out this Lycanroc? I'm not sure. I would imagine we would just see him play it down if he did. That is definitely unfortunate, but so Daryl got a little bit lucky here, I think, just because, like I said, I think the better move would have been to retreat into that fresh Lycanroc that is not in danger of being knocked out. But here he's going to Field Blower, getting rid of that Float Stone and Skyfield, so I like that play. And here he is going to Moonlight Slash yet again. So it's going to put this Lycanroc GX up to 160 damage. That means a Shadow Stitching will actually knock it out, which is good. And here Daryl's going to put another Stadium down. He has a Pikachu in hand, though I don't know if I'd want to bench it or not. Well, I guess Marcus is at an even amount of prizes, but Daryl's just going to opt to Sycamore them all away. He does draw a strong energy, but either way, he will not be able to take a knockout. That is the unfortunate thing here. He is going to have to yet again attempt to two-shot this Greninja. Well, I guess it'll be a 3-shot if you count that Max Potion. So you can really see how Greninja is so strong for a one-prize attacker. Marcus is going to play Super Odd, probably get himself a couple evolution pieces, maybe energy back into his deck even. So what is the third one he is going to get? Maybe a Greninja or a Water Energy? Okay, he's going to go for the Greninja, put that back into his deck. He's going to Dive Ball. So he's going to get Frogadier off. Okay, he's going to Love Ball. So he's going to start powering up the rest of his field, just because this Greninja Break is probably going to go down this turn. But I do think Marcus does have a Splash Energy in hand, which will definitely help him keep streaming these Greninjas along too. So he's starting to stabilize, even though Daryl is ahead. You know, Marcus, I think, is actually in a great spot. Okay, so he can attach a Splash, okay, and he has some options as far as what he wants to do for Water Shuriken. I might put 6 on either Shaman or the other. Okay, yep, I was going to say either Shaman or the other Lycanroc seems good, because you're going to go down to 2 prizes. You want to take your last 2 prizes off a GX, not a Raichu, just because you're going to have to knock out 2 Raichus, whereas otherwise you can only knock out 1 GX or EX instead to accomplish the same thing. But here, if if Marcus had done it on Shaman next turn, he would actually be guaranteed the knockout, assuming Daryl didn't have, assuming Daryl didn't do some sort of Sky Return shenanigans. The only downside here is that Marcus cannot win this turn. Just because, well, not true. If he has Choice Band, Water Energy, and Lysander, he can pull it off. But I'm not sure if that is in the cards. No pun intended. Okay, so what's he going to do here? He got that Greninja Break back into his hand. I'm sure he doesn't want to discard it with Sycamore. What I might consider doing is just saving your hand for next turn, because I don't think Raichu can knock you out. It's only doing 80 right now. Raichu would have to get a couple more Pokemon in play to pull that out. So that is a consideration. But here Marcus is going to just Sycamore. He's going to get rid of Greninja, a Frogadier. I think that was a Dive Ball he may have discarded as well. But here he has Silent Lab and Splash Energy. Okay. So this is definitely good. So he's going to attach Splash Energy. And I actually see Verseeker in his hand, so he can just Lysander something hopefully next turn to win the game. Hopefully. He would still need a Choice Band or Greninja Break, but he did Sycamore this turn, so he might have an out to it for next turn. I'm not sure, though. It's really hard to say. I just can't see his hand, so. But I think he's in a good spot, though. Especially now that he has the Silent Lab down and he bumped Daryl Skyfield. It's going to be harder for Daryl to fill up his bench to take a knockout on this Greninja. So, okay, I do see a Skyfield in his hand, but does he have enough Pokemon to actually pull this off? That's the thing. He does have a Level Ball in hand. Okay, and here he's actually going to take a knockout, and Marcus has to be probably pretty excited about this because all he has to do is knock out this one Lycanroc. It's up in the active spot now. He's going to Dive Ball, probably give himself Greninja Break. There he goes. And he has, I'm pretty sure, the energy in hand to pull this off. And Marcus, you better count your damage right this time. Don't give away this second game because of that. Okay, I do see a water in hand, at least one, so does he have the second one? Because Moonlight Slash will do 80, and then a Giant Water Shuriken does an additional 60. Okay, so he's going to do 60, and then Moonlight Slash for the game. So Marcus is going to tie up the series at 1-1. So again, he must have been a little bummed out about that first one, just kind of giving it away like that. Unintentionally, but he's doing okay though. This is how Greninja works. Daryl looks like he's gonna win. This is how it always goes against Greninja. Well, I shouldn't say always, but this is how it goes a lot of times with Greninja. Your opponent goes up on prizes fairly quickly, but in the late game, when you get your Greninja Breaks online, you really start to wreak havoc and you catch up very quickly. So the deck pretty much just worked how Greninja should work that time. So he only has to do this one more time and he can advance to top 4. But at the same time, these have been very close games. Even though I do think this is favored for Marcus, it has been close. So that's not to discount Daryl. If he has just a great start, Greninja has been known to just kind of break sometimes, just because it's kind of a clunky, inconsistent deck. Daryl might be able to pull out a win for himself. So we'll have to see. But if both decks work just as expected, I would favor Greninja though. So hopefully Marcus doesn't mulligan as much as last time. But here, I do apologize for the cut, guys. My camera was acting funny this day and had stopped recording. But the game isn't too far into it. I think Marcus had just used water duplicates. So I believe this is Daryl's third turn. Okay, so here he's going to go down to 2 prizes. Like I said, this isn't far into the game at all. Marcus has a Splash Energy. Looks like he has 2 Greninjas in place, so that is good. So he could retreat into this Frogadier, but, you know, Daryl probably has an out to a Lycanroc, so he may as well attack with, I think, this active one, especially since it has Splash Energy. And he's just going to do Moonlight Slash to do 60. And here, Daryl has a massive hand, so, and he had Ultra Ball, so definitely a good thing Marcus did not retreat. He definitely made the right play here. Okay, so he's going to bring up the other Greninja with Bloodthirsty Eyes and just take a knockout on it. So this is going to prevent Marcus from streaming those Greninjas as much as, or as easily as he would like to. Oh, but unfortunately Marcus's hand is just completely dead. He's got Level Ball, he's got Max Potion, but I don't see any energy or supporters. So this is not looking too good, unfortunately, I hate to say. But at the same time, Marcus is going to be able to put on a little bit of pressure. He can do another 60 to this Lycanroc, putting it up to 120. That way a Moonlight Slash, returning the energy, will be able to take a knockout. And there, Daryl's just checking to see if a Froakie was underneath the Frogadier. And he has Lycanroc in hand. He could take a knockout on... Okay, he is going to do that. He's going to bring up the Frogadier and take a knockout on it. And this is a situation where I actually would have loved to see a retreat on Daryl's part, because now, well, Marcus is in a tricky spot because he can take a knockout, but then if he does that, the bench Lycanroc can just knock him out in one hit, and he won't get the Greninja line back into his hand. I think I do see a Lysander, and that would actually be big if he played that Lysander. But I really just don't like this play. That's going to put Marcus down at... I could have been wrong, but I thought I saw Lysander in his hand. But this is going to put Marcus down to just a Froakie at the end of this turn. And that's just... I don't think Marcus can make a comeback after this. Yes, I definitely wish Marcus would have held on to that... energy and just Lysandered something. He would have been okay, I think. Well, it would have forced Daryl to, you know, have a double Carlos or a Floatstone. So he is going to bubble, paralyzing this Lycanroc. And so I don't think Daryl has a way to escape the status condition. But eventually there's going to be a turn where Marcus has to quit using Bubble. And I just don't think that there's a way to prevent Lycanroc from taking a knockout at this point. He's got energy now, but it's just... he doesn't have much to work with. He has 2 Splash Energy. Well, he can attach a Splash Energy, I should say. And he has a Sycamore in hand as well. So I think Marcus has to play that if he wants to stay in this game. So what is he going to do? I see a Verse Seeker. He could Lysander. So it looks like that's what he's going to do. He's going to Lysander a Shaman and then go for a bubble on that as well. Tails, so... But Daryl does have the energy and he has a Floatstone. So here he can just retreat and knock out Froakie. And it's definitely got to be a bad feeling for Marcus. But congratulations to Daryl for moving on to top 4. But yeah, that's just how it goes for Greninja sometimes. Like I was saying, there's just so many times where Greninja can just start dead and have like a clunky, unworkable hand where your opponent can just roll over you before you get set up. So it's just how it happens. But definitely stay tuned, guys. Like I said, we have a top 4 match and a finals match coming up, so stick around to check those out. And also check out the video that I did on the Greninja deck list that we used at this tournament if you want to see card for card what we decided to play. But as usual, guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out our merch over at rarecandytcg.com. If you can pick up something to help support the channel, it'd mean a lot to us. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.